Hi, Denise Dryden here. I'm on a ferry going from Pender Island to Stanley.
Shorts Bay
In Canada. Pender Island's behind us. Been on a 3-day weekend with 3 other women, so there's been 4 of us, okay? So today I want to talk about what does it look like when we hold space for someone else when it's really important to deal with a conflict or an issue that comes up. And I'm going to walk you through because we just did this and we're 4 masterful women and we did this really well, so I wanted to share this with you. So anytime that we have group dynamics and there are times of conflicts, whether it's with the toddler, whether it's with the teen, whether it's with couples, you know, the one-on-one, or in a family system when there's disagreements or anger, or in a group where there's triggers or feelings, what's going to happen is that it's usually around something like expectations or hopes or dreams or, you know, a timeline. And when something doesn't work, whether it's a kid that doesn't get to do what they want to do, or an expectation that when I came home from work today, I really hope there was food because I'm really hungry, but I didn't tell you that, you know, we could fill in the blank in a lot of different directions. But when there are hopes and dreams, there's also frustrations and there's anger and disagreements. So the 4 of us get off the ferry on Friday and we're heading to this women's weekend. And we're 5 years apart. So I'm the oldest, and then it goes 5 years down, 5 years down, 5 years down. And because we talk about Chiron, all 4 of us have different Chiron. You know, so we've got an Aquarian, we've got a Pisces, we've got Aries, we've got Taurus. And we're all studied together in mystery school. So we have these kick-ass skills that we've been studying, but we haven't really had a chance to apply them yet. So we arrive at this beautiful house up on Pender Island with a view like this over the water. And it's ice cold and the water's off and the heat's off and we don't know what to do, and it's like running around, stress, and one of us gets really overwhelmed and and has to go take a walk and go out. And at that point there's 3 of us wondering what to do to help, to comfort, to address, to whatever, right? And there's one that has to go deal with the overwhelm. So what I wanted to do was look at how we use these skills and how we hold an open space for what happens when you're in a group setting and one person has something that goes on. Now, I'm going to go directly to the family system where you have a young kid who has a temper tantrum or leaves, or in a couple where you have an argument and you want to walk away, or you're just overwhelmed and it's like, I can't take you guys anymore. And you walk away. And so what happens when you're still, the rest of the group's there going, what are we supposed to do, right? And so I wanted to go through some specific tools, okay? So number 1, the most important thing to do when you're in that group and you're remaining is to hold space for that person and to stay open. Don't create stories and don't create reasons and concerns, and you know, trust and believe that this is all happening for a reason and it's going to be okay. So the most important thing first is to go in and go, I'm not going to buy into any of these stories, any of these reasons. I'm going to just keep it really open. Number 2, give this person time. Don't go out and check, are you okay? Are you okay? What do you need? I'm sorry. Give them time to go figure out what's going on, and then hold an open container for them to come back into, right? And they'll come back when they're ready. Number 3, in this group, hold coherence, which is be adult, be responsible, take care of yourself, do what you were going to do. Like in our case, what we did is we lit candles and we got the fire going and we got the electricity moving through the rooms, and we started some tea, and you know, like it's starting to get like when you come back in, it's going to be so warm and cozy in here. We're so glad you're back, right? Number 4, allow each person their own experience. And so don't go coddling or chasing or, you know, going out with any expectations of what they're going to need to do to come back in. Because again, we have to do our own management, and we can't say, well, I'm only going to let him in if he says he's sorry, or I'm only going to let him in if they agree that they're not going to do that again. You know, those are shaming techniques that we've used in family systems for so long. Or as one of the examples that came up in our group was, are you done yet? And I'm guilty. I've been like, I've had a kid with temper tantrums. It's like, are you done yet? And not realizing that doesn't open up space for something else to happen, right? So number 5 is to let that person create an opening for themselves. Let them come in when they're ready. They might take 5 minutes, they might take 2 hours, they might need to go to bed and get up the next morning, and let them decide what they need. And the most important part is to recognize that sometimes that person doesn't know what they need, and all we can do as the group that's holding is assume that they're okay and that they're going to be all right, and that and to send them energetic love, to send them peacefulness, to send them we accept you no matter who you are, right? So that they can feel that, and so they don't feel, because especially if you're dealing with sensitives or empaths, the gossiping or the talking or the it's been a long time when they're coming back in, all those things that I know I used to do as a mother, right? And on number 6, that emotional pain, when there's a conflict, when there's overwhelm, when there's something going on, that emotional pain is as important as physical pain, and it's big and it's hard, and that person's in pain, and we have to be able to understand what does someone in that level of pain really need. Number 7 is to have a pathway that each person holds, which is, who am I going to be? What position am I going to hold in this group? If I do my work and I stay calm and I catch myself wanting to go out and go, oh, I hope she's okay, should I go get her? Or I'm not going to go get her, she's just mad. I have to manage all of these pieces so that I'm not the one who's causing the friction in the group now, because sometimes it starts in one and it goes ping, 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 ping. If you've ever been in a Thanksgiving holiday for 4 days with 10 people, it just bounces all over the room all the time. So you just manage yourself, right? And let me see. Let's look at my net. And then number 8, let it go after reentry. Don't come back and say, I want to talk about this before we get in the car to go do another event. You have to just let it go, and let it just sort of twinkle in, sprinkle in, and rest in the way that it's meant to, because you can always come back, whether it's hours later, a day later, a week later, and say, hey, I know that was a tough time. If you ever want to talk about it, I'm here. But right after the event, you have to let it go and not try to process it unless that person wants to come in and say, hey, can I talk about what happened? And you're like, of course. And what we were able to do as a group is that once she came back in, she said, I want to talk about this. We're like, yeah. And then the 4 of us each had to go through our own dynamics. Because again, we're in mystery school. We're working energetically. We had to own what we were going through and how each of us was working on holding this, right? A couple of things I'd like to add before we sort of sign off on this, and you can still enjoy this beautiful vision out here, is that use your love languages. If you know them, use the one that how you feel love, and give that to yourself, because in times of conflict and when someone's dissonant from the group and you don't know what to do, you have to do self-love. So whether it's an act of service, go get yourself a cup of tea and a blanket. Whether it's touch, just either ask someone to rub your shoulders or just start to do something where you go, I'm okay. I feel love. And when that person comes in, how do you give love? Is you can say, hey, I brought you a blanket. Touch them on the shoulder. Give them an eye contact that says, I'm glad you're back. Smile. And try not to re-enter too fast on them, because again, we have to let them set their pace. So these are all the fibers of relating, of relationship. And so this is super important to share what we experienced this weekend, but then also to know that it exists in family dynamics, it exists in couples, and it exists in your workplace. Anytime that there's an individual or a group that goes like, wow, big, and then you want to bring them back in, and we want to keep this collaborative concept of community, we have to know how those dynamics of relationship work. So it starts with us. We hold the container. We don't jump in, and we let that person have their own space and do it and come back in at their own time. So this is what I do. You can always find more videos like this on DeniseDrydenCoaching.com. And we've got 2 fairies, and then we'll be back in Seattle tonight. And I'm so glad you got to see this on this background. And thank you for my camera. Girl Marika, you rock! Thank you. Bye-bye.